Yeah, I've been watching horror movies since I was so little that when they started talking about Jason versus Freddy, I was, I think, 12 or something.
Okay.
And I was so excited for that to come out. And that didn't come out until I was 24. I waited half my life for that movie.
Half my life for the damn movie.
And do you know that I walked out of the theater? I never watched the whole thing till the end.
Wait, why'd you walk out?
I didn't like it.
What?
Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Film Asylum. We are your hosts, Colin Peters.
John Rochette, you filthy animal.
You know what? I'm going to let you get a pass today.
Thank you, Jeff.
Jeff Manfred, only because we have a special guest with us. We have Jen Harding with us.
Yay, Jen!
Yay, Jen! Woo!
Hi. So, I'm an artist. I primarily do horror-themed and dark arts art. It's really, there's nothing more about me. Like, I love movies.
You have a
I
shop?
love Scream. I did just open an online shop. It's Jen M. Harding at Big Cartel. That might not be the exact thing, because I literally just opened it. So, I can be found on Facebook and Instagram and Big Cartel, and it's all Jen M. Harding, one word. Jen M. Harding Art.
Okay.
So, that'll make it easier. So, find me, like my stuff, buy my stuff, because I don't like working.
You do a lot of cool t-shirt designs, right? That's one thing that you do?
I do. I had my own logo that I did sell t-shirts on my own, which I just did hoodies the same way. They're just pre-order, so they're once and done. So it's like, get it now or you can't get it ever again. But I do have a line with Hot Topic. So if you go on to Hot Topic Creators and look under artists, I'm listed under there. And then I have a store through there also. So that, I think I'm going into, I did just send them new designs, so I don't know when those start. But right now there's about 11 different shirt designs, and you can get them customized. So you can get them in a girl's size, a boy size, and there's different colors. I like black t-shirts. The black or white ones is my suggestion, because that's my vision. But hey, if you want a bright bubblegum pink shirt, they have those too. But thank you for having me on. I said earlier, I watch movies all the time. I grew up on horror movies. I grew up watching movies all the time. But I never was like, I don't go to all the details. I can all sit there and be like, oh, nobody else knows this. I know this now. So when people try and quiz me, I'm like, I just like the movie. I don't watch as many movies lately because, I'm a mom, a wife, and my boys they like doing bikes and outdoor stuff, so they don't share my love of the sofa in the movies. So now everybody's like, did you see this movie? I'm like, no, I didn't. I have to wait until they go away, and COVID made that impossible. So, so I'm rusty.
So honestly, I met you through my wife, who you worked with.
Yes.
And I think the first time I actually met you was at a horror movie convention.
And do you want to know something? That was my first horror movie convention.
Really?
I grew up in the horror scene, but that was with my family. I had friends that liked horror movies and we watched them together, but I never knew that there were cons.
Oh, really?
I didn't. Nobody told me this. They kept that secret, I think. So that was the first time my friend Corey and I went there, and we were like, oh my god, these are people. Because I met Corey through our bike friends. So everybody I hang out with, they run marathons and ride bikes, and I don't do that. So I actually have one of the bike wives that when the boys go ride their bikes, we watch horror movies. So we went there. She's my Marilyn Munster. She looks so sweet and innocent. So then we go there. It's hilarious. She was there. So when you mentioned that on your last one, when you brought me up, she was like, I was there. I was with PJ Souls.
I know, it was just funny because you were in line for PJ Souls, and I forget who was right behind him, and then we kind of switched, and then
yeah, that was the first line I ever went into, and I was so much of a con virgin that I didn't realize you needed cash.
You do.
So I waited in line because I wanted to meet her so bad. She was the first guest I went to, and I got up there and I didn't know that you couldn't pay with card because now you can like swipe them on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
But she was so sweet that she took my picture anyway.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
That's
And
really
she told me I
nice,
was
yeah.
adorable, so I just wanted to.
That's really cool.
Yeah, she
I know
was
they
awesome.
have ATMs there, but they charge a fortune just to pull out some
Yes.
cash just by doing the ATM transactions.
Yes, which I ended up having to do for anybody else, but that one I didn't know. So, and I know a lot of the other people I have met, they would not do that. So she was an absolute sweetheart.
Yeah, she does seem like a really nice woman.
That's great.
Yeah.
But I do vend at Monster Mania now, so
Did we go to
if
your
we ever
first
have
one
another
too?
one. Yes, that was the first one I did last October. That was my first show, and that was amazing. My first night there, I sold a painting to Tony Todd.
Oh, wow.
That's
Awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, and then on the last day, I sold one to Ted Raimi.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. And those were, like, legit. Like, I had other exciting things that weekend because that was a Scream reunion weekend. I made a complete idiot out of myself for Jamie Kennedy because I was also on Matthew Lillard watch all Friday night because I was where they all walked past. He wasn't there, but I didn't know that till Saturday. So I was, like, looking, and then my husband saw Jamie Kennedy. He's like, well, who's this one? And then when I turned my head and I saw him, I literally geeked out, like literally waved my arms in the air. It was like, Jamie!
Like do like the Kermit arms.
Yeah, so Jamie has one of my shirts, my original logo shirts. I gave him one, and he has worn it on Instagram. So
Awesome.
I have
That's really cool.
screenshots of that. Yeah, so that's about me. I'm not very exciting.
Are you kidding me?
What you
That's
just
really
said was very
exciting.
exciting. Are you
Yeah, but
kidding
that
me?
all was literally 1 year. So I keep joking that 2019 was so good for me because things started happening and everything that then 2020 happened. So I feel like I've used up all the good luck. So it's my fault that now we can't do anything because they used it all up on Jen. I'm sorry, everybody.
I don't think you used up all the good luck. You just got your store started, your own store, so that's
Yes.
probably another good thing. So it's not all used up. There's still something there.
It is, and it is so new that I can't even tell you anything about it. I have, I think, 7 items up. Actually, when I leave here, I'm going to be doing photos of other products to put up. So, by the time this airs, go buy stuff. Jen M. Harding Art, Big Cartel.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I did bring stickers for everybody, which are also on, so you can put it on your car and be like, show everybody how awesome the sticker is, and then it's like rainproof, so everybody can go to Big Cartel and buy the stickers.
All right.
I think I have one on my lunchbox right now too. Because I was looking at it, I'm like, I didn't realize Lexi threw it on there.
They should be everywhere. It's funny because I do have my stickers on my car. So like when my husband drives it and is weaving it, I'm like, don't mess. Don't make people mad. My name's on the back. I want people to like me.
We'll make it another logo in the Loomis room.
We have 2 paintings of hers up now.
I just said I saw them when I came down. I was like, you should let me sign them like everybody else on the wall here.
Yeah, there's a lot. This is
so I can pretend that I'm famous.
You are famous.
Definitely.
Yeah. I was like, when you said about all the cons, like literally that has been my life for what, 10 years now?
Mm-hmm.
See, everybody keeps this stuff secret.
Hey, even we did autographs recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one I'm still surprised about.
Yeah.
You can get a booth at one of the cons.
That would be a dream.
Awesome.
Yeah, it would be.
If we can ever have them again.
They should happen next year. I'm really hoping something happens next year.
Yeah. I did do the horror sideshow market a few weeks ago, and that was fun, but it is not the same because a lot of people don't come out, and it's not like Monster Mania where that's like, oh.
Actually, we were already talking about going to the next one because Felissa Rose was there, and I couldn't remember the other 2 that I saw. They actually had more people.
It's February, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
February 20th because it's my husband's birthday, so I can't do that weekend. I wanted to.
I'm sorry, honey, but
They're like, how would you like to spend your birthday?
Alone.
or at
At the sideshow market.
Yeah, well, it's funny because my husband's I always joke that he's like the mayor of everything. So, like, when we were at Monster Mania and I went to, like, the Scream panel, I was like, oh, I'm going to sell some stuff because everybody listens to him. Everybody's always drawn to him. He's like the center of attention. But then at the horror cons, they're my people. So I sell more. They're like, bike person. So our worlds have changed. So I wouldn't make him spend his birthday at a horror convention. It's not fair.
Actually, it's where I spent my bachelor party, so kind of funny though.
But you like that stuff.
Yeah. Before we do start, since we're talking about shirts and everything.
We have a little gift for you.
Yes, we do.
Oh. Can I open it now?
Yeah,
Go for
it.
That's why I handed it to you. I wasn't going to wait till...
Well, it could be like, look, open this when everybody leaves. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so welcome to the
This
asylum.
makes me official.
This
Yep.
makes you official, yes.
I do belong in an asylum sometimes. So, thank you
That's
so
one
much.
of our original artworks that we've had on the channel.
That was actually the original artwork for, I think, our first episodes.
Awesome.
Might have been, yes, indeed.
I love
The lettering
it. And
is
it's a
there.
black t-shirt. Not bubblegum pink.
And it's comfortable. I'm wearing
Well,
it
the
right
bag's
now.
bubblegum pink.
I had to get that in there.
Just to throw you off a little
It's
bit.
funny. When I was little, I was a tomboy, and I was so anti-pink that it was very funny.
It was sickening.
Yes, as I got older and you're a girl and you start wearing makeup and stuff, I still wouldn't wear pink. And I remember going to like a store when they do like the little makeover on you, and I was so mad. They put like pink makeup on. Like, it looks so good. I'm like, it's pink.
Get it off me. Just turn into the devil voice right there.
This isn't my thing.
No, I can do pinks. But
As long as it's the right shade, right?
exactly. Not bubblegum.
Yeah.
But
My
thank
aunt works
you.
with Mary Kay stuff. I got an education
very
in women's
pink.
makeup. As well as theater makeup, too. I just want to throw that out there.
No, we'll stick with the Mary Kay. I think it'd be more perfect.
You had to bring it up.
Absolutely.
don't they, the people that like sell so much, don't they win like pink cars?
I know she won a red car.
Maybe they don't do. Maybe that's like an 80s thing, but maybe they
Maybe.
used to like win pink cars.
It's possible.
All right, so we ready to discuss the movie now?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, we are going to discuss not a horror movie today, actually. But
We've done a lot of those lately.
yeah, we have. But we love it.
Absolutely.
It's our thing, and
Yeah, I guess we gotta do something more happy and festive.
we're continuing the Christmas trend.
Yes, we are, and that will be Home Alone today is what we're going to be talking about. John, you want to do the intro of the director and the characters?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Home Alone.
Didn't that just hit its 30th year? Because wasn't it 1990?
90. Yep, 1990.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that right
So 30 years, basically. Yep. This movie was directed by Chris Columbus. He made this one as well as the sequel, Lost in New York, and he also is known for making the first two Harry Potter films. So that's a pretty good resume right there. He did Pixels with Adam Sandler. Let's not go into that at all. That was an Adam Sandler production, not his. And this was also written by John Hughes. Everybody knows who this guy is. He was kind of like the screenwriter of the 90s. He churned
80s.
out...
80s,
80s, sorry,
Come on,
80s. I
Breakfast
should say.
Club.
But he did go into the 90s as well, continue writing screenplay after screenplay. Breakfast Club, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Weird Science. I mean, it just goes on and on. There was a period where he was averaging what felt like 6 screenplays every 6 months. He just kept writing and writing and writing. The guy loved to write. And he had this idea about a holiday movie. The idea was Home Alone. And I'm not sure if he was initially wanting to sign it, but I think he had another contractual obligation, so he didn't direct it, but he passed it off to his buddy, Chris Columbus, saying, hey, would you be interested in making this movie? And it was in limbo for a while. I have to look. There was a really great documentary about this movie, about some of the best movies that got made, and it's on Netflix. We talked about it for a little bit.
The movies that made us.
The movies that made us, yes. Die Hard's on there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's a couple on there. It's a really good. It's only about
Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing. Yeah.
They need a mannequin one.
Jeff's Guilty Pleasure. It's only about 4 episodes, I think, on Netflix. There's only 4 of them
They just
on there.
added 2 more.
They added 2 more. Okay, that's good.
Nightmare Before Christmas and Elf. But I think it's called the holiday movies that made us now.
That makes more sense.
I feel like it was cut short due to the whole COVID thing. Because even when you're watching, we just watched Nightmare Before Christmas, there's a woman in the background, you can see she's wearing a mask. So maybe that's the start of everything.
Okay, gotcha.
Fuck COVID.
Yeah, indeed. This movie stars Macaulay Culkin, a 9-year-old Macaulay Culkin, as well as the 2 burglars that probably are like the go-to people that we think about when we see this movie, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. and it has a good ensemble cast of other people like John Hurd, who plays Peter McAllister, the father, Catherine O'Hara, who's been with Tim Burton for many, many years, working in a lot of productions, and as well as some improvised dialogue and memorable moments from John Candy. I really miss that man.
Dude, the Polka King?
The Polka King.
Do you know that I did read that Home Alone would not have been a movie if it weren't for Uncle Buck?
Really?
Yes, I think I read that that's where he got his inspiration from parts of that movie. And John Candy's role in Home Alone was like wrapped up in one day.
That makes sense because
one day.
Yeah,
I do remember the 1 day thing.
Mm-hmm. 23 hours of filming. And you could tell towards the end that John Candy was like, I'm fucking done, man.
All of his lines were improvised too.
Yeah,
they didn't give a script
he's
for
a
him.
menace.
I'm getting all my facts out now before you take them because
I don't
know all the facts. But also, I do know that Joe Pesci was not the first choice for one of the villains. Robert De Niro turned it down. And then, actually, there was somebody else, I don't remember. But this was, like, his first gangster movie. So he wasn't even used to doing a movie that wasn't, like, rated R. And
Yeah, I heard that he had issues, like, trying to compose him from not swearing, especially on set, which is hilarious.
Which is funnier, because that's where all that, the language came from, where he's like, frickin'
Yeah. Basically a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
And then on top of that, Daniel Stern was originally not supposed to play... What was it?
Marv. Yes, he wasn't supposed to. I think it was like a money issue or...
No, it was originally supposed to be Dan Roebuck.
Yes, it was. But I think that's the reason why they didn't get Daniel Stern was because of money. So then the studio also wanted Daniel Roebuck. And there was a conflicting issue with that because Daniel Stern was originally the choice. And then the studio wanted Daniel Roebuck. And then they did some screen testing with him and Joe Pesci. And it fell through. And then they went back to Daniel Stern.
Okay.
I think that's how it went. But I actually had the pleasure of working with Daniel Roebuck this year, working on a film called Lucky Louie. And it's going to be having a premiere in August of 2021. Great director, great guy. He's very punctual when it comes to time management. He knows exactly what he wants in terms of his vision. And he's so easy to work with.
Awesome.
And all of his movies are in the Bethlehem, Pennsylvania area. He lives in California, but all of his movies that he has directed, they're all in Bethlehem because that's where he grew up. And he knows the area very, very well. So if you're an actor out there, if you ever get a chance to, if you're living in Pennsylvania and you want to try and work with him, get a chance to because he's awesome to work with.
That's cool to hear. I'm glad you did get to finish that movie with everything going on.
And nobody got COVID. We all followed protocols. We all wore masks. Even the pictures that we took from behind-the-scene footage, we've got like 10 hours of behind-the-scene footage. We had a camera crew doing all of that, and we all had to wear masks. And we also took pictures of us wearing masks, and then we took pictures of us without wearing masks. So when everything blows over, we can present the ones without masks, saying, "Hey, we beat it. We beat COVID. We survived, and no one got sick during the production."
So back to Home Alone.
Wow.
Well, yeah, if anybody doesn't know what Home Alone is, let's just come up with a simple plot for this right now. It's basically a 9-year-old troublemaker who's protecting his house from a pair of burglars when he is accidentally left home alone by his family during a Christmas vacation in Paris.
Honestly, I do have a quick question. So I rewatched this movie yesterday.
Okay.
And the fact that how obnoxious Kevin really is, could you really fucking forget him? Because I'm looking at that whole situation. Even when they counted, they even set everything up perfectly. So you had the neighbor kid over there. They counted him. They accidentally threw his plane ticket in the trash when he made the mess. But I'm like, you remember bringing him upstairs, but you don't. He has a mouth on him, so definitely he's going to stick out no matter what. You've got 15 people in the house, and he's the only one that's that obnoxious? Absolutely, you're not going to forget that kid.
How could you forget the pizza fight? I mean, my God, that was just chaos everywhere. You got 15 people in one crammed kitchen, and it's like domino effect. One thing leads to another thing that leads to another thing.
Well, they were late when they woke up, and they were running around like crazy. And when you have 15 people in a house, and you're like, oh shit, we got to get on a plane.
That's true, yes, but still.
I'm just more like, how the hell did that little random neighbor kid come over and just like go through all their shit and nobody cared?
That actually would be why they're like, oh, well, I counted them. Yeah.
But I'm thinking, like, even the car ride over, because they're in those vans, tight. You're telling me none of them noticed that Kevin wasn't there? Even either one?
Well, look, Thea's too young now. I have a teenager, so when you get up early and get in the car to rush somewhere, that kid's back there sleeping. So I'm not going to notice. They're going to put him into the car, and he's going to plug in his phone, and then he's going to sleep.
So wait, you're saying your kid's is that obnoxious as Kevin?
Sometimes. It's 13.
Oh, yeah.
13 is not fun.
That's a teenager age right there.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Jeff, I'm disappointed. You had an opportunity to go, so you're telling me.
Dude, I'm more in shock. She's just like straight up like, well, my kid's 13. I am.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be able to forget him though. But I also don't have 15 people. There's only 3 of us to deal with.
Yeah,
I forget things, but not that. I actually, when he was a baby, I actually was always terrified that I would be that one person that left the carrier somewhere. You know, when you have to carry it everywhere. And I'm proud to know and tell everybody I've never, ever left him anywhere.
Oh, good.
That's great.
But he was pretty obnoxious. And I'm obviously, you guys all know that the kid that played Fuller, that wets the bed, that's his brother in real life. He's also a Macaulay.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually never looked that up or
Really?
that. So,
I didn't know
all
that
right.
either.
The only
That's
reason
cool.
I figured that out was watching that movie Saved. I'm like, man, that kid looks like Macaulay Culkin, and here was his brother.
Oh, he was in that movie too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I know he's got brothers all over the place.
There's Rory Culkin. He was in Scream 4, I think, too.
Yes.
And then another movie called Mean Creek. It's a very independent, low-budget movie, but he was excellent in that movie. He was the lead, I think.
Is that the same one in Signs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do they have like any sisters in the Macaulay family?
Good question. I have no idea.
Who cares?
But yeah, I was when I watched the movies that made us, I knew it was kind of too good to be true, but that entire house was just a giant set. That was not a real house. That was actually built in a school.
It actually was a real house.
It was.
It
the
was
exterior.
a real house. I know this because I just looked it up. It is a real house.
Okay.
The only part that was not a real part of that property was the tree house. They built the tree house for the movie. That tree house wasn't part of the deal that the homeowners gave. So that is a real house. The tree house that he goes into is not. They built that for the movie and they took it down.
Okay.
I think it's because
Look, I know stuff.
I think it's because it was too small to fit everybody in. So that's when they expanded to the school that they ended up filming everything in.
They built it in a swimming pool, an empty swimming pool, I think.
Well, for practicality and effects, because you know what the end result's going to be, like with the traps and all that, it's better to have a set, especially because it was an abandoned school, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you could do that and probably have some demolition in there and just be like, whatever. When you're in somebody's house, you don't want to screw that up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because that's a nice house.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, even if you sign the release form, it's like, oh yeah, we may not want to fuck this up.
I'm just saying, how did Kevin's dad and mom pay for that? And then paying for 15 people to go to Paris?
You never know what they do for a living.
I feel like it's the whole Barney thing from How I Met Your Mother. Just something.
And they're in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck the Bears. I like the story about the snow. Did you guys ever hear about that?
No.
How they wanted snow so bad, or they actually wanted it to snow, and I guess it was all artificial until like the very last day that they shot.
Actually, I thought it was the second day of shooting.
Oh, was it the second day?
Yeah, because
Oh, okay.
they're like pretty much called the Snow Watch. So they're filming in February in Chicago, so you're supposed to get snow.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally.
Yeah, so they're like pretty much like,
Northern
oh
Midwest.
yeah, by the way, we're hitting snow right now. They're like, all right, whatever you guys are doing, just drop it. We gotta go over to the house.
Right.
Do you know if they didn't have snow, well, they can make it obviously, but if it's in a real neighborhood, the neighbor, the old man that ends up saving North End, he was not part of the real script. I saw they wrote him in later, so I can't imagine. I don't know what his character would have done if there was no snow.
Huh. I didn't know that.
The whole thing of his character was that he had the bodies in that salt bucket.
Oh my
So
god.
if there was no snow, he'd have literally no. But he wasn't written in the first.
Constantly
Okay.
salting the sidewalks
Yes.
with that shovel.
Yeah.
I'm actually more impressed that the shovel fit into that trash
Yeah, I
can.
know,
I'm
right?
watching him scoop salt out of this. I'm like, dude, what is?
My question was, where'd you get those boots, man? Seriously. We get a lot of good low camera angles on your boots, and it's intimidating as all hell.
Actually, what drove me nuts is the fact he never snapped them. He's walking around with them flapping all over the place. I'm like, dude, you're gonna trip, and then you're gonna hit in the head with the shovel.
Never mind, his knees are probably shot already.
That's probably why he didn't snap him.
Yeah, right.
Oh man.
Maybe he had Dr. Scholl's in the.
You know, John, when this started, you quoted the movie that Kevin uses when it's pizza. Do you know that's not a real movie?
That's
Yes.
not a real movie. Yes.
See, that was my big piece of information. That's something nobody else.
I tried looking for that movie when I was a kid. Like, what is this?
Yeah, that's what I saw. That everybody tries to look for it, and it's not a real movie. It's a scene specifically made for that movie.
It's crazy.
I had a hinkling about it just because I went to film school, and after I saw Home Alone with a different set of eyes, I said to myself, I don't think this is a real movie just because of the structure of it. And then when I found out how old that guy was, I said, okay, there's no way they'd make a movie like this in 1990 or film it in 1980 or something.
That's where you go way into depth.
Yeah.
I like watching movies, so I don't notice that stuff.
Honestly, it's fun because like I love the fact that movie he used it throughout the whole thing. Just that's what 5-minute clip, just to order the pizza, scare off the burglars. Even I was like, so I love the fact that like he used it, even though it's like first time he's watching, he's covering his eyes and like, oh no.
I always wondered why the pizza guy didn't call the cops that somebody was shooting at
Yeah.
him. The first,
I know.
There wouldn't even be a breaking in scene.
Well, it's late 80s, early 90s Chicago, so I'm guessing he's like, oh, okay, here's your pizza.
I mean, that same kind of stuff's still going on now, so.
It's a pretty safe neighborhood that looks like they're looking in because, according to Buzz, hey, I'm not that lucky. 2, we have smoke detectors. And D, we live in the most boring street in the United States of America where nothing even remotely dangerous would ever happen, period.
So it should stick out that you deliver a pizza and get shot.
Yeah.
Not to mention a character is named Snakes. It's me, Snakes. I got the stuff.
You know, that movie can very quickly turn into a horror movie. They should actually make a horror movie version of it. That would be awesome.
There's a fan-made trailer where they made it to look like a horror movie,
Because
I think.
I read one of the facts that I did read was that all of the stuff that he does to them when they break in, they would, in fact, if that were real life, they would not have survived.
Oh, right.
No way.
The only thing that would have caused the least amount of damage was when Marv stepped on the Christmas ornaments.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
I was
too.
thinking that or the burning of the palm. Because, like, how hot that was. Yeah, it would have been, like, 3rd-degree burns, but he would have survived it. But,
Oh my god.
you know, the paint cans to the face? Or the iron to the face?
Those aren't light.
Blowtorch on the forehead. Well, head.
His head gets turned into barbecue chicken. I mean, my god.
Marv steps on a nail and tar.
Hitting the side of the house at full speed, both, they're let's say, like, 150, 200 pounds a piece. And hitting it at full speed, yeah.
I would say even the first slip from Joe Pesci,
Oh.
the 3 attempts to going up those steps. In fact, I think the stunt double got hurt a little bit, but they actually managed to get it perfectly on camera, so they kept it in. But that first fall from Daniel Stern going down those steps, he'd have a fucking concussion. No way.
I'm just saying, though, the first time he fell off the steps, like, Joe Pesci's character, I'm like, listen, go in the snow. Like, you know the steps are slippery. Just, you know,
No.
a foot over, walk up.
He's got to make a statement. He's got to go up those damn steps. He has to conquer his fear of 3 tiny stone steps. But yeah.
But just think, he's breaking into a house in the front door. Let that sink in.
Well,
I mean, I don't blame Kevin for, like, icing up the steps and putting the hot iron on it. But still, how stupid is Joe Pesci to go? And he's supposed to be the smart one.
the brains behind the operation.
Yeah.
He's the cop in the beginning, but he wasn't really a cop. He was just disguised as a cop.
Yeah.
But in the second one, they would have died from the first thing because I don't know if you remember the second one, but Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, Macaulay Culkin drops a brick from a 5-story building right on top of Daniel Stern's forehead. That would have caused a depressed skull fracture, and he'd be dead within seconds.
No,
Dude,
I did not see the second one.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
It's fine. It's just a retread of the first movie, except in New York.
So they forgot him again.
They forgot him again.
Well, it wasn't they forgot him again. They literally went on a separate plane because he followed a guy that had the same exact coat and haircut as his dad.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, all right, this time, like, all right, we got Kevin. They actually held on to him when they got into the airport, and as soon as he started playing with his headphones, tape recorder,
Yeah.
is when he all of a sudden lost track of them and all of a sudden saw a guy that looked exactly like his dad.
He just wanted some damn AA batteries. That's what caused it.
But they still left him out of his sight in the airport. It's their fault.
So literally, the movie should not be called Home Alone. It's called What the Fuck Were You Thinking? Or Watch Kevin.
Or the result of bad parenting.
There's even a line in that movie where they scream, "We did it again." How are you doing this again?
They shouldn't be allowed to have that many kids.
No.
I don't think the fact that even... Yeah, that's Macaulay Culkin's last one. There's, 4 sequels? So it's like, they are really just
really?
kind of... Yeah, that's bad.
Don't see 3 and 4. Do not see 3 and 4. If you didn't see 2, you can see that casually, but do not watch 3 and 4.
The 2 had some good laughs in it, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the house was really fun. I mean, shit, dude, Daniel Stern got electrocuted so much he turned into a skeleton.
I crack up laughing every time I see that. I'm a grown man, and I still laugh at that.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's a John Hughes staple because that's what happened in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles when they go between the 2 trucks and they just turn into skeletons.
I still think my favorite part when Planes Turn the Automobiles is when he turns into the devil while driving. But
that moment of fear causes a blind rage in Steve Martin that he envisions John Candy as the devil. It's funny stuff. It really is.
like, John Hughes was an amazing writer. You get a lot of fun movies, but he felt that Home Alone was his pinnacle. He could not reach that pinnacle ever again, even after the fact. So it was kind of sad because that was 1990 when this movie came out. So he probably wrote it late 80s. He had a string of amazing movies up to that point. So it's like, it kind of sucks that, like, Home Alone is your pinnacle, but you can't move past it. Like, you
It was in the Guinness Book of World Records for a few years as being like the highest grossing movie.
Yeah. I know this movie did not get initially favorable reviews by a lot of critics.
Because they left their kid home alone. They're like,
Yeah. But even so, like, Siskel and Ebert, like, tore it apart. They only gave it, like, 1.5 or 2 stars. And a lot of these critics were flabbergasted that this movie lasted 7 weeks in the top 5 spots. I think it was number 1 for 3 weeks. And it hung on for 4 more weeks in, like, the top 3. And they're like, what are you people seeing in this movie that we can't? They were pissed, actually, that people were seeing this movie constantly. And, hey, John Hughes and company, they're just thinking, we got a holiday hit on our hands.
And that's all that mattered.
And honestly, it's an amazing movie. Like, even rewatching it now, I was just like, you really can't say that much bad about it.
It makes impressions, too, because I'm assuming we're all the same age, but so you grew up around that same time, so tell me you never once thought of what you would do if somebody broke in your house because of that movie.
Oh my god,
Where
I was
you would
inspired to, like,
booby trap
what kind of traps can I come up with after that?
I'm not gonna lie, I have done the micro machines at the bottom of the stairs.
Oh my god,
As soon as I saw it in the movie, I'm like, oh, this is where I got it from.
I remember taking hoses and just, like, wrapping them around my yard and stuff, and my dad being like, what the hell are you doing? And jump ropes on a clothesline and just stupid shit.
Go back in the house, Dad. I'm being home alone.
Go back inside.
I never
time they told me to go
tried
back
any
inside.
of them, but I would think of them all the time. Because I've always been one of those people. I guess I've always been paranoid. So I'm like a true crime person.
Yeah.
My husband yells at me all the time. He's like, you're going to scare a kid. But because I'm always like, somebody's going to get us. But even like growing up, before I saw that movie where you could booby trap things, even as a little kid, I would always look for like the first place, like where I would go if something happened.
Yeah.
So think of all the tips you learned then.
I had a treehouse. I wanted a zip line from my house to my treehouse. I wanted that. All because of Home Alone.
Ziplining's fun.
That's great.
We were talking earlier about how much a dick that one uncle is. Was it Uncle Frank?
Uncle Frank.
And it's just he's at his brother's house, and the pizza guy comes in. And he's like, oh, I don't have any cash. I don't live here. I'm like, wait, you couldn't just be like, give them money and then go ask them later? You gotta be a dick like that?
He's a dick throughout the entire movie. Like, what purpose do you serve Uncle Frank? Except just to be a burden on everybody.
Yeah, he doesn't even apologize at the end of
It's
it.
to validate the fact that he wanted his family gone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, like, I made that comment earlier about Kevin being that obnoxious, but it's like, it is the fact that the whole family was not really giving him the time of day. Like,
Uncle Frank is worse.
if you look at Buzz and Uncle Frank, they were kind of like the point of pissing him off, And then even looking at his mom and dad, they were more worried about getting ready for the vacation. The mom's even on the phone like, hey, Kevin, get out. I'm on the phone. And he goes, hang up the phone and why don't you make me? I'm like, really? I would have just picked you up and thrown you out.
Yeah. Here, you be his burden. Forcing him onto some other member of the family. I think it's just, and a big shocking thing was for him to pack his suitcase. I'm a 9-year-old kid. I've never packed a suitcase in my life, let alone one of those knapsacks that homeless people have when they travel from place to place.
I think this movie also was showing like how much he was growing over that course of, actually, was it 3 days?
Absolutely.
It might be a week.
Mm-hmm. But that was the big stepping point with it.
He even cleaned up the whole house after
that was the one thing I was surprised about. Like when they came home and the whole house was spotless.
He remembered at 9, like, where everything was. I wouldn't even remember where everything is as an adult.
We saw it as, like, all right, they came in the house. It visibly looked clean. He might have just jammed it all in a closet and hoped for the best.
Or in his brother's room.
Well, he didn't clean Buzz's room, remember? He was at the end, he's like, Kevin,
he destroyed Buzz's room.
And actually, that came into play when he destroyed his room, because not only did he take Buzz's stash, but the spider got out that he used on the burglars.
He broke all those shelves.
Yeah.
Do you know that even at like a store, like sometimes if you have like shelves like that and you're trying to reach something, sometimes you step on like the bottom one just to like boost yourself up. I think of that all the time. I'm like, I'm bringing this whole thing down.
That's a good stunt too. I didn't know that Macaulay Culkin's stunt double was a very short 30-year-old man.
Well, did you also know in the scene where he's going through the Buzz's stash and he finds a picture of Buzz's girlfriend and goes, Buzz, your girlfriend, woof. That's actually, I think it's the director's son?
Art director.
The art director's son. They just put a wig on him.
Because they felt it would have been mean to actually put a woman in there.
Oh, it would have been. Even I said, oh my God, they really did this? And then hearing it, I'm like, okay, all right, cool.
but it's no better that it's one of the art director's kids like, hey, I'm sorry, you're an ugly kid. We're putting a wig on you. We're talking about bad parenting at this point.
Yeah.
No, it might have been like a good sport too. It's just funny, like the fact that like, yeah, it was a boy in a wig.
He got to be in a movie, and nobody probably realized it until the freaking documentary came out. Yeah. So it's like, hey.
It is one of the most iconic lines though in the movie.
Imagine his wife though. Now they'll be like, "Oh, my husband was in Home Alone. Where was he? He was Buzz's girlfriend."
It would be even funnier though if she had just the framed picture on the wall of him in the wig and everything. Like, oh, this right here. This is
right here. This was my 5 minutes.
But yeah, Kevin actually does turn into an adult. In fact, Joe Pesci would say that it was like working with an adult with Macaulay Culkin, with how professional and cool he was throughout the entire process, because he gets some pretty big monologues, especially with the aftershave scene in the bathroom, just talking about his daily routines. And I tried putting aftershave in my face. I never screamed like that, but I tried constantly. I'm not burning. Why is he screaming? I can't get this to correlate with the movie. I can't be on the same boat as you, Kevin McAllister. I don't know what's going on, man.
I didn't even know what aftershave was.
I have some. I don't even use it because I really can't put it on my head. But that one scene that you just brought up was actually improvised. Because originally it was supposed to keep going like this, like smacking his face. But an 8-9-year-old kid hitting his face with aftershave and then realizing it's burning. Instead of pulling him off, he started screaming because it was burning. And I was like, when I found that, I'm like, so one of the most iconic scenes wasn't even supposed to be that way.
It's kind of like the first time you put Bengay or Icy Hot on. You're like, oh, this isn't so bad. And then you're like, oh, shit. And for an 8-year-old, I could kind of see it.
I gotta say, when we were probably that age, whenever we had the house to ourselves, we had to have jumped on our parents' bed with food or run around screaming, celebrating, oh my God, this is my domain. I can do whatever the hell I want. We've all been like that, I'm sure, at one point.
My mom had one of those like really cheesy waterbeds.
Oh my God.
Whoa. You guys are talking about being a kid and still doing it? How am I a grown-ass man and I still do it?
Not me. I paid a lot for a bed.
I did too, but I'm like, if I'm there, I'm like, I might actually just like run and jump into it, get a nice bounce out of it.
I used to have people come over to my house and we'd cut up watermelons and have those big knives and we'd try to like throw them in the living room and try to catch them.
Oh my!
Yeah, it wasn't smart, but hey, it was like
fun.
No adults. Catch the watermelon. It was like half a watermelon too. Like, yeah, we better clean this up.
One thing we did was like we took pictures of the house before, just so we could take everything off the shelves. And then we could have a photographic memory. Okay, this is where you go because I'm going to remove you because in the event that shit does go down, things get broken or things won't get broken. So we can put all this stuff back on the shelves so that nothing gets broken. We pre-planned. Yes. This was like weeks in advance.
Just randomly take, all right, picture.
Yeah, I just had like a Polaroid camera like back then.
So wait, I wonder if that's what Kevin did too, to put the house back together. After everything.
He's a pretty smart kid. Maybe he did do that.
Because he probably had one of those old Polaroids.
They're rich. Maybe he brought somebody in to do it himself.
Yeah.
Seriously.
In a matter of what, less than 12 hours? You're telling me?
He knows he's alone. He takes the pictures of his stuff, and then he takes all the stuff off the shelves, put it in a box in a secret location, and then when all is said and done, you put it back.
Except for Buzz's room. Fuck Buzz, apparently.
He called him a phlegmwad. And he wouldn't let him sleep in his room if he was growing on his ass. You don't come back from that. What a dick.
And honestly, I love the fact that, like you said, as much as being a dick, he wishes his whole family away after being sent to the attic. And when he finally gets his wish, and he's like, no, they're still here. The cars are in the garage. And I love how that ties in when the Catherine O'Hara and the dad are trying to figure out what they forgot. And they're like, he's sitting there going, all right, I turned the coffee pot off, and then all of a sudden he's like, well, what about the cars? Like, oh yeah, I forgot to close the garage. Whatever. I'm like, wait, what?
Of all the things.
No, I just forgot a kid and left him in the house by himself.
Yeah.
See, they couldn't do that now because now you can look from your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the movie now would not play out the same way because
No,
there's enough
definitely.
technology. Like, it's the same thing that is happening with horror movies because technology itself makes it easier to get a hold of somebody, and they have to figure out a way around it. So I'm not saying that Harry and Marv are gonna be like, oh, let's get a signal jammer and let's unplug the Wi-Fi.
Well, it's like in Scream 2 when caller ID started becoming a thing. And I think at the very beginning of the movie, somebody tries to prank call Sydney.
Corey Gillis.
There you go.
Beat us to it.
Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, caller ID was a big thing when that movie came out.
Yeah, I think they said the sales skyrocketed. It was at least, 80%?
Something like that.
Buy caller ID. They can't kill you.
And here's the thing. Did Micro Machines skyrocket after Home Alone? I think it should
Good
have.
question.
Like a home security system.
Just throw them on the floor and hope for the best.
Every kid should have a BB gun.
BB guns, I'm sure, skyrocket. Not just from A Christmas Story, but Home Alone.
I got one of the ones from A Christmas Story, and I did actually
My son
shoot
has-
my eye out.
Oh,
Did you really almost shoot your eye
Because I
out?
shot a fridge and didn't realize it would ricochet back. It hit me right below my eye.
Oh.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, did I really just do this?
I had a BB gun, and then my idiot brother and a friend of his were shooting each other with it, and they shot him in the mouth,
Oh.
and he chipped his tooth, and it got lodged in his tongue, and then that was the end of the BB gun.
Yikes.
But he's an
We're
idiot,
bad.
so...
Nah, just Joe Pesci got in the crotch and Daniel Stern got it like point blank right in the head.
But, all right, so with him doing the whole protection thing, he set all that up in what? We'll say 12 hours, because like he catches them in the morning. We'll say between 8 and 9, and then they're like, all right, we'll come back at 9. We'll get something to eat, blah blah. So you're telling me that whole time he's sitting there going, all right, how can I fuck these two guys up? Like, he goes really demented with it.
I know, yeah.
But no, he goes demented with it. Come on, doing the light switch with an iron hanging off of it.
That
Yep.
was awesome.
The pole light.
Mm-hmm.
And then going, hey, I'm going to put tar on the stairs and then put a roofing nail through one shingle just to make sure.
That's that's the one thing that bothers me about the whole movie. Like that kind of scene, that's the same kind of scene that's in The Quiet Place. The Quiet Place where
Oh, yeah, she steps-
when she's pregnant, she steps on the nail. Like that scene should not be in anything.
She has to give the tub birth while one of the animals, the creatures, is coming up the
But
stairs.
that nail, look, it started with Home Alone.
I was like, even him going, all right, I'm going to chuck paint cans. and the blowtorch.
Blowtorch.
Come on. I'm like, these are some like really elaborate things to set up in 12 hours, let alone get everything. So you're telling me his dad has this all in the garage?
Well, look, I'm 41, and I still don't even know what that thing is that he puts on the doorknob to make it hot. I don't even know
You know what?
That thing.
It's actually for a grill. You put it
Is
in
it?
there. Yeah, to start the coals.
Oh, really?
okay.
I never knew what that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, I
like,
had
what's
to
the
look.
purpose of this loop thing just to make things hot?
I had to look it up when I originally watched it because I'm like, I don't understand what that is. I didn't know the context of it. It's literally for starting coals on a grill.
Because my mom had a little salon, I thought maybe it was something for women's hair.
Oh,
but
jeez.
but I didn't. I mean, she had some like weird shit in that salon, so I was like, maybe.
What's that blue stuff?
Yeah.
I want to know, after watching the movie again, how long did it take him not just to plan all the booby traps, but to devise and illustrate that plan? He rolls everything out. Everything looks like it's perfectly drawn out and detailed. How long did it fucking take him to draw that whole thing up?
Well, he has nothing else to do. He's home by himself.
I guess.
Oh, he had to go grocery shopping. He had to cook himself a Christmas dinner and devise this murdering plot, let alone set everything up. He has a whole day ahead of him.
Not to mention, like, get all those cardboard cutout images of people to just roll around a train set to make it look like everybody's moving. There's a big party after they were in Paris for, 2 days?
Honestly, I set that train up for Thea under a tree, and that's all I could think of was, like, just getting the Michael Jordan cutout.
Yo,
Like,
my
how
Darth Vader cardboard.
How
cut
awkward would
out.
that be? Just, like, every, 30 seconds, just somebody just walking past the window. Just like, okay.
Like I said, put the Darth Vader one on there, and people will really be like, "What?
You got
What are
Darth
these-
Vader in that party?
What do people do in the free time over there?"
They join the dark side. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You
But-
damn Satanist.
Listen, I'm probably am the weirdo of this neighborhood because I am really fully covered in tattoos, and I'm always dressed in some sort of metal and horror shirt.
I don't know. Your neighbor killed her husband.
He survived. He got
Oh,
stabbed.
he did? Oh, okay.
He got stabbed in the neck.
What?
Yeah.
He probably deserved it.
Actually, as what I got to find out was he had a whole nother family. The wife found out while he was sleeping, decided to stab him in the neck.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's
The-
awesome.
And the only reason he survived was the grandmother was in the house and
That's
called the cops.
That's not all.
I'm joking. My neighborhood doesn't have that scary kind of stuff.
Well, apparently,
But
Macaulay
I'm actually
Culkin's
very
in-
close to the city, so it could have.
Kevin McAllister's just some really sick shit. I mean, what kind of movies was he watching to get all these plans
He was watching
devised?
steak movies.
Yeah.
Watching rubbish.
But even as we're going into detail about how he probably murdered these two men just to save his house, this movie is technically a Christmas movie. Not as much as we're talking about how bad everything is. Come on, even the wallpaper is like green and red, and everything in the house is green and red.
Mhm.
And there's like no other colors because like they're like, oh yeah, this is Christmas. Like,
Oh, it's festive all across the board, from the snow to the decor, the Christmas music. The airport even has Christmas stuff in it,
Mhm.
from what I remember. John Candy talking to Catherine O'Hara. They're talking about getting home for the holidays.
It's a very
And-
festive movie. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
even the small details, it's everywhere.
And don't correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't the family come back on Christmas?
yeah, Christmas Day.
Okay, there you go. So the Christmas miracle and the family getting together.
That was the whole thing when Kevin wished everyone went away, and he got his wish, and they're finding this out, and then he's starting to realize, well, now I gotta fend for myself. When he comes back, the night before, after he saves the house, after murdering those two guys, he pretty much is just wishing his one Christmas wish for everyone to come back. And it just so happens, Christmas morning, everyone just happens to come back.
Some
You know,
good
it's
music.
technically like a counterpart. Like, Krampus is a counterpart to Santa Claus. Krampus movie is a counterpart to Home Alone. Because in Krampus, they wish their family would go away, and then he comes and takes them away.
I see you're getting it.
Look at that. Comes full circle in
Yep.
some way.
There is a lot of booby traps in Krampus. There is a lot of, booby traps in Home Alone, so I can see another correlation.
All right, there we go.
Home Alone needs, like, killer gingerbread men.
Home Alone
That's
6.
ridiculous.
I'm on 6. We just skip 5 when we go right to 6.
Some fives just don't have the oomph.
No, a lot of 5s really don't.
Scream 5 will.
Hopefully.
Batman Begins? Well,
I will love it anyway. Honestly, I'm that loyal. I will love it anyway.
But yeah, we talked about it being a festive movie with not just the small details, but the music. And can we talk about that they got John Williams to compose the music for this movie? It's very symbolic.
Yeah, I was gonna say even the music's kind of like got a Christmassy, festive kind of thing, but it's its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I could easily see this as somebody putting it on a Christmas playlist or something at a party.
I bought the vinyl for this soundtrack.
Case in point.
Because as much as I enjoy John Williams, so like I do own Jaws, I do own some Star Wars. This was one I actually had to search for because I really enjoy it that much. And it was impressive because like even the art they did for it is actually Kevin's house.
Cool.
I felt like it was kind of a necessary thing to have because it stands out that much. And but that wasn't the original person to do it. It was I think it was Daniel Stern was saying like they got somebody else that fell through. So Chris Columbus made a joke, like, why don't we just get John Williams? Well, they sent him a copy of the movie and he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And they said actually
What?
it actually changed the whole feel of the movie by adding John Williams' music into it. So it made me wonder what the original soundtrack would have sounded like if John Williams didn't do it.
I can't think of that movie without that score either.
No.
I mean, it's another character in the movie, just like the Jaws theme.
Yeah. And like honestly, like that one opening tune is probably the most iconic. Recently, I bring this up a lot. A band did it for I think it was last year's Christmas or the year before. Let's see if it actually play. I don't know how much we can actually play before we get in trouble. But
3 bars.
Like 3 seconds.
There you go. That was just enough. But it was the fact that like they even like were like, all right, this is something that needs to stand out. And I'm like, as soon as I heard it, I'm like, no way! I'm like losing my mind in the kitchen. And Lexi's like, what?
That's always the response.
Because like I feel like I probably overreact until stuff like, oh my gosh, like I get over ecstatic and
like Rose the Hat doing all the Jack Torrance manner.
But it was like that theme just alone just kind of like will set out. You know where it's from, you know who wrote it, and it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys are staring at me like I'm a weirdo now.
I want to hear the rest of the song now. That's what
I know. Like, oh man, I just lost my train of thought because of. But yeah, like you said, the music itself actually is its own character. The scene that I think it plays the biggest part in is when he meets, I can't remember his name, older gentleman in the church.
According to IMDb, his name is Marley.
Okay.
Old Man Marley.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Old Man Marley, yes. There we go.
When they're talking in the church right before the whole burglar thing, speaking of which, adding more into his one day.
Yeah.
It actually sticks out the most in that moment because you've got the choir going and it's literally Kevin and Marley's redemption.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And as they're talking, you can see like Kevin understanding everything that Marley's going through, and then he understands like he's going through the same thing.
It's a great scene too between these two, especially when Kevin is just taken aback by his presence in the church, and then he asks to sit down next to him, thinking, well, this guy could have killed me days ago, and I guess he's not going to do that. Not to mention that his granddaughter was singing in the choir, and he wants to, or he's had a troubled past. He's had some arguments between his family, and it sort of alienated him for years and years to come. Maybe this is the time to finally pick up that phone and call his son that he had a falling out with. And maybe this is a time, like you said, redemption for Kevin to try and make amends with his family because he hasn't been the best to them either.
I think that scene and the very end when Kevin sees him with his son and the whole family together, those two are probably the best scenes in the whole movie because that like just ties in with what the holiday and everything about Christmas is like what it should be.
It's snowing outside. It's a big miracle.
You know, and like the coming together. It's not about the gifts. It's about the love and, you know, the holiday spirit. And the music was playing in that scene, and both families are reuniting, and both of them helped each other. Never mind the fact that Old Man Marley was the one who ultimately saved Kevin in the end yet.
Yeah, and up to that point, up to the church point, we all thought Marley was this killer, and as adults, like, yeah, we know it's not true because, hey, he'd probably still be in jail, even if he got away with it.
The part that freaked me out was when he was in that convenience store and you see him slap the hand down on the glass desk.
Like a bandage?
Yeah. I'm like, oh my god!
But, like, the guy, as messed up as it sounds, he does have a creepy feel about him. Like, the way he's constantly staring, no real emotion. And then up until the church is when you finally...
sad.
Yeah, you finally get to see that emotion in his face. Like, and I was like, wow. But like I said, if he would have tripped over those boots...
Can we go back to the salt for a second? Because this used to bother me when I was younger, and I just realized now that it still bothers me because it makes no sense. When they're telling the story about Old Man Marley in the beginning, and they were talking about his barrel, he said that it's salt. The salt turns into bodies. How would salt turn into
Yeah,
bodies?
it turns into bodies. That turns into mummies.
Mummies.
Okay.
Yes.
Like, that it never made sense to me, and I just realized that I never made sense of it now.
Just a
It
bunch
was
of-
just let off there. And
It's a bunch of
forgot.
dumb kids butchering a ghost story. That's exactly what it
Well,
is.
it's fun. It's the older brother trying to scare the younger brother, and it's, that teenage logic compared to the 8-year-old logic.
Hold on, I think Buzz still believed it, though,
I
to
can
be
believe
fair.
Buzz did not seem like he was all there.
Yeah.
When I watch movies, it's little things like that bother me, that I can't stop thinking about. Like, little details. Like, actually, the other part that bothers me about Home Alone, and I'm sorry if people like this, I don't like the Christmas tree in France. I don't like the white and blue tree.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
no.
no.
I'm very adamant to this day. I'm like, I don't like white trees. I don't like blue lights.
I feel Kevin's, half-ass tree, the one he cut off the top,
Yeah.
was probably the better tree, and because, that white just...
Like,
doesn't-
little things like that, that's the part. Those are the parts of stuff that I remember. I'm like, that part bothers me.
No, I agree. I don't like that in real life. When I see people, I'm like, why do you have a white tree? Like you said, blue light. Like, blue light, that's not Christmas.
The funny thing is, I totally forgot about the tree until you said something. My brain just, whatever they were doing in the background, I think they were, even, putting the lights and stuff up. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
And I used to be grossed out by the way Buzz ate the shrimp. Like, just...
Oh, yeah, just...
The shrimp and the pizza, he folded it into fours and then jammed it into his...
Shoved the whole thing in his mouth. Oh, man, kid. Check your eating habits.
Yeah.
I think that was the purpose of him, though, just be a pig and just absolutely
Yeah.
obnoxious.
Being obnoxious is...
Was anybody else afraid of basements in their furnaces during this movie?
Hell
Yes,
no,
do you
I
know-
love going down to my basement with a...
So I grew up with my grandmother raised me, but I would live at my mom's house sometimes. And my mom always lived in a townhouse, and the basement was always so scary. And I swear they just threw stuff down there. Like, it was, if you would picture a movie, like a basement in a horror movie, that was my mom's basement. She would always make us go down there to get stuff out of the dryer or something, and there was a Freddy poster over the dryer.
Oh,
next to
seriously?
So,
Wait, so that one?
no, it was an actual picture of Freddy.
Oh.
Are you
Like,
trying to give people
Even
a heart
as like
attack?
a teenager, I used to have dreams that like my stepdad was Freddy. He was like chasing me. See, I
Yeah,
was desensitized at a very young age. So basements, that makes me think of that.
Plus, they had a weird basement in the first movie.
Actually, that reminds me of my grandmother's basement.
It was a long, narrow one, and like the townhouse basements in the city always have that creepy room that's under like the porch. But then you think of like Amityville, like that's like the bedroom. Don't go in there. Well, there was that little room that I don't even know what was in there because I didn't go near there. But then there was like the little furnace, and the Freddy poster. So why would you send your child down there? It's my mom's fault. I'm like this, by the way.
Probably good luck.
Look, I do have a story. It's not Christmas related or Home Alone related, but it's like basement and horror related. Why I got to be the way I was. It's like my oldest memory. I don't even remember how old I was. It was American Werewolf in London.
Okay.
I remember being at my mom's house and not being able to sleep. And I came out, and she was sitting on the sofa in the dark watching this movie. Lets me sit there and watch it in the dark with her. I'm like 6. Then I have to go to the bathroom. And I come back. Movie's still on. It's still dark. My mom's not there. And then I hear like a tapping noise on the window. And like the window was behind the sofa. So you're little looking out there. My mom had like a werewolf mask on.
Oh my god.
did. I had a hamster actually that bit me the next day, and I swore I was gonna be a vampire. I thought I was gonna be a werewolf, and I made them get rid of it. Like, you need to.
Hamster wolf.
Yeah. So if I was not, by the time I was 9, I probably would have thought of some harsher things than Kevin did. But yeah, that's why Jen's the way she is.
I'm surprised Uncle Frank didn't do that in the movie. The dick that he is. Doesn't apologize for anything. It's just obnoxious. Look what you did, you little jerk.
Does he smash his own kid up against the wall while it's trying to go?
Yeah, like against the chair, he's like,
Oh, he's fine. I'm more pissed off at the soda fight and what Kevin just did.
Yeah, it's not even his kid.
I know, cheapskate. Hey, I'm gonna give you to the count of 10. Yeah, I keep going back to that pizza delivery guy. Why didn't he call the cops?
But I even love the fact the movie, like I said, plays later with Marvin Harry too, and that's where he gets the firecrackers from Buzz's room. I totally forgot about it. I'm like, oh, he's like, oh sweet, firecrackers. I'm like, I don't remember him using firecrackers. And then all of a sudden that scene pops back up. I'm like, oh shit, that is probably the smartest thing to do. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he was smart enough to pull the
pot.
Yeah, I would have just been like, good luck.
Yeah, it didn't look like there was carpet in the kitchen.
Yeah, no.
You had to bring up the carpet, right?
Yeah.
We have to go back to Die Hard bathroom having carpet in there.
Oh,
How
that's
gross
a
it was.
pet.
Dude, I saw that last night again, and I was like, ew.
Or those little, like, you know, they used to sell, I guess they still sell them, those sets, the, like, carpet sets that you put under the
Why?
Who made those? I live with 2 boys, and there's no way I'm ever having that under there. Gross.
My grandparents, unfortunately, had carpet in their kitchen. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It was an ugly green thing, too. But anyway.
We've talked about how Kevin McAllister, as diabolic and evil he is in terms of creating this big master plan, how smart he is. One thing that kind of got me is that when he makes the phone call to the police pretending to be his neighbor, why does he put on a voice to try and act like the neighbor?
Yeah,
the cops don't know who he is.
Dude, an 8-year-old boy saying, he just say Murphy?
Yeah, he was trying to be RoboCop. He goes, Carl, my house is being robbed. I live in 646 Chestnut Street or whatever. He goes, my name is Murphy.
I never really got that because I'm like, if you just acted like an 8-year-old saying, help, there are people trying to break into my house and kill me.
It was a crank call. Because remember when the mom called and the guy has like the donut in his throat?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you want us to go to your house?
Just to check on him.
Yeah. Do you know that's the guy from Friends? That's the old man.
Oh, that guy, the landlord?
Larry,
oh,
yes.
Larry the landlord.
Well, no, Larry wasn't his name. Mr. Heckles was his name.
Right, Mr. Heckles.
Larry's his real name, but yeah, that's him.
Oh my god.
But that donut scene too, when like just the sound of his voice, that's always something that's stuck in my head.
God,
too.
the cops are incompetent people. No wonder the robbers got away with so many burglaries in this house.
Yeah, they were there wrapping their presents.
Yeah.
We're the wet bandits.
Yeah,
that was their thing. They put the rags in the sink in houses that they nabbed and
just flood the house.
The fact that that's how the cops are like, oh yeah, that's how we know which house. That was you assholes.
Idiot.
And then Marv was so stupid at the very end, he's telling all the cops who they are. We're the wet bandits. W-E-T.
Shut up!
Shut up, Marv.
Oh my gosh.
It's even worse in the sequel.
Yeah. Sticky bandits.
So you're just saying is that Marv and Harry are just incompetent enough to, I should say competent enough to rob houses, but not, competent enough to cover their own tracks.
Stop a 9-year-old.
Yeah. Like I said, that kid probably murdered them, and they just played it off like nothing happened.
He did.
But it was kind of cool, like you said, with the redemption of Marley coming back and saving Kevin's life. Mm-hmm. I knew it was coming, and I just thought it was funny as hell because like they're ready to just bite Kevin's fingers off. Mm-hmm. And I did not realize how tall he was compared to Marvin Harry. When he stands up behind him, I'm like, oh shit, man, he's gonna kill him.
He's a giant. I mean, Daniel Stern's pretty tall too. Joe Pesci is much shorter in stature, but my God, he is a monster compared to those guys in terms of his height.
I'm happy with that ending, but yeah, at the same time, I'm thinking, so Kevin did all that stuff, and then you mean to tell me that at the very end, or should I say, so you're telling me?
There you go.
That at the very end, he still like got caught from them, and the way they did it was they just put him on a coat hanger.
Well, it was because they were like, oh, we're not going to follow him through the basement, which he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, we just go through the front door.
Let's be smart for a change.
The entire movie, they weren't smart, and the ending is like, oh shit, we know what he's capable of. Now let's play the smart role.
But I get it. The ending all played out, and it was an awesome ending.
Yes.
Yeah. And like, I love the fact that it wasn't just Kevin's story going on. You have Catherine O'Hara's story where the whole time she's just trying to get back to Kevin. So she's like literally just buying any ticket to get home.
Yeah. And
then you've got the really short story of the family in Paris just going, all right, we'll try to get the first flight out. Well, okay, so mom's losing her fucking mind trying to get home. These guys are like, well, we'll get the first flight out and then we'll go home. They still got to enjoy the part of their vacation, even though they were.
They had to look at the white tree.
Like they had the Eiffel Tower in their.
I know.
In their like eye line the whole time. Like I feel like
I wouldn't have wanted to be the brother that lived in Paris. Have all those people in your little tiny apartment eating your shrimp.
Yeah.
Small place.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would have been like, yeah, no, you guys can all just go to a hotel. Like, this is way too small, and I hate half of you anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, if they planned on going to Paris for Christmas, why were all the presents still wrapped at home?
You know what?
Oh yeah, in the mom's room.
Yeah.
There's a table with like bags and presents still on it. Like, oh yeah, we'll take care of that when we get home.
Yeah, pretty much.
Christmas.
We'll have Christmas on like New Year's Eve or something.
Hope we don't get robbed in that time.
Seriously.
And with Catherine O'Hara's storyline, like you get to see, that's where we get to meet John Candy, and he's talking about how like each of the guys in the bed are like shitty parents. Where he's like trying to say like you're not, you forgot your kid, but you're not a shitty parent. And he's like, this guy can't even tell you what his kids' names are, or he doesn't even know which kid is his.
Never
like,
met his kid.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, these are the worst bunch of fuckers I've ever met in my life.
Oh, man.
And then John Candy's like, well, I forgot my kid at a funeral home. That seems like the worst thing he did.
I love that entire story. I mean, it's so like macabre. Like, oh yeah, he was alone all day with the corpse. He's okay. He started talking after a couple weeks or so.
I'm more amazed that they're a polka band and live like rock stars, that they're never home, because polka bands travel everywhere.
You'd think that they were rock stars, but no.
Polka,
like, you don't know me?
Polka King? Kiss me, Polka? But yeah, oh my god, John Candy was like everybody's uncle. Seriously.
He was literally Uncle Buck.
He's Uncle Buck. I miss that guy so much.
Yeah. Honestly, Uncle Buck was an amazing movie, too.
Heck yeah. Don't you want one of those pancakes?
Dude, I was thinking about it the other day. Dude, a giant, like, counter-sized pancake would be amazing right now. I keep forgetting we're talking, and my brain's just going,
Pancake.
Circle. So I'm, like, holding my arms out like everyone's seeing it.
Guys, I swear to God, it was this big.
But that shows, like, she was, like, just trying everything she could. Was it she gave that old couple her watch, everything, like, all the money she had just to get a ticket home.
She went from Chicago to Paris to Dallas to, where the hell am I? Scranton, PA.
Yeah, that was the one that stuck out. I was like...
Wasn't it like Sheboygan, or was the polka people from Sheboygan?
They're from Sheboygan. She ended up in Scranton, though.
Scranton,
Of
yes.
all places. I didn't even know that Scranton had an airport.
Lehigh does.
Okay, because I'm like sitting there going, I've been to Scranton several times, and I don't remember an airport being there.
Yeah, Lehigh does, because I've been there. I've been to that airport to get to Wisconsin, which Sheboygan is in.
So wait.
It's just fun to say, Sheboygan.
Sheboygan.
There's a lot of fun names to say up in Wisconsin.
There are.
I did see a weird strip club called Bean Snappers up there. I was like, what?
What?
Yeah, look it up.
I don't know if I want to.
No, just what Bean Snappers means.
That will come up on my phone.
Because I was surprised they named a strip club that. It makes me not want to go. I mean, I've never been to one anyway, but after that title, I really don't want to go.
They're threatening you.
Yeah.
Some wife came up with the name.
I think it's for like all the rival sports teams to go to just fuck them up.
Oh,
we can't play the Packers today.
we saw some things.
Yeah.
that we can't look away from ever again. But can't look away from the fact that all the family comes together at the very end, and they took the morning flight.
Yeah, she went through all this trouble, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, that flight you didn't want to take, we got.
Exactly. But you were saying how, you're saying like the two most important scenes were the interaction between Marley and Kevin, and then the very end of the snow with the family together in a snowstorm. I thought the most important moment was the dad discovering Joe Pesci's golden tooth.
Nope.
He's walking away. I mean, my God, Joe Pesci's gold tooth got a lot of real estate.
I love the fact that they did make that its own character. So like he smiles, it's just like
it did get its own character. You wonder if like the dad's actually going to keep the damn thing, even though he looks at it like, ugh, what is this?
No, he kind of smiles and is like,
Well,
I kind of want to keep it though.
Even though he's like, is this a tooth? And I think that's when he smiles, like trying to see if it like matches up to one of his teeth. Like, wait, you would know if you would have a gold tooth.
Why would you pick up a tooth from the floor and put it at your mouth?
Yeah.
I think he found it he didn't know what it was.
It was on the floor. Not many people have gold teeth.
Yeah. They didn't really pay attention to Joe Pesci in the beginning. I think the only person that saw it was Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
So even when Catherine O'Hara was talking to the cop and the pizza boy, Blurrican,
pizza boy, yeah.
She really wasn't even paying attention because Kevin was being obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like even that was the only way Kevin realized it was the same person.
Yeah.
Because nobody really looks
and the
different.
cop
because when he saw him in the van and he smiled and the teeth
Yeah.
shined again,
Yeah.
that's when he was like, oh.
Merry Christmas. Ding.
After he almost got hit.
He got run over by the van.
The one time he's
van.
buying groceries.
Yeah. Where do you live? I can't tell you that. Why? Because you're a stranger.
So the kid, he did do a lot of smart things. He did a lot of obnoxious things,
He
but
stole the toothbrush.
Little shit.
because he got scared of Marley.
Like I said, shoplifter, cops in that neighborhood, they just can't keep up with a 9-year-old. None of them
The
can.
fact that he slides on the guy's legs and he's just screaming, whoa! And the cop's like still trying to chase after him and then hits the bank and then that's it. Like, not even.
Yeah, these cops. How are you cops? How are you cops of this neighborhood and this city?
Hey, maybe it was a foreshadowing of things to come in Chicago now.
This is the same company that brought us Die Hard, and they gave us those cops.
Fuck yeah.
Well, I guess on that note.
Yeah, that's Home Alone for
Yeah.
you. I mean,
The good guys win. It's a Christmas miracle.
Yeah. We get the happy ending. We don't get the kiss at the end of the movie, though, so I guess it's not really.
I don't think I
Christmas
really
movie.
want to see old man Marley
Yeah.
kiss Kevin, so I'm glad they didn't. Yeah. Ugh.
That would take a different turn.
Although it would have been
Home
funny
Alone,
if Joe
question
Pesci.
mark?
Although I could see Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern kissing accidentally under mistletoe, and Kevin being like, "Ha."
or like Buzz's girlfriend comes at the very end.
Oh,
and he gives her-
Yeah, the mistletoe.
Buzz, I love you.
They're in the room together. They go to the room together to be alone. Then all of a sudden, Buzz is like, "Kevin, what you doing in my room?"
Wait, I just realized something. So he takes that porn mag and throws it over his shoulder and says, "Ew, they're not wearing any clothes." So that's hanging out in the middle of the floor when Buzz walks in. Now that I'm thinking about that room, I'm like, he really did a number to it.
Hell yeah, he did.
And ripped Michael Jordan off the wall.
Well, hey, maybe that was a time when he was retiring. I don't know when he did.
He unleashed the tarantula.
And that tarantula,
Oh, yeah.
like I said, came back into play. Because it looked like Marv was going to have Kevin, and then he saw the tarantula and put it on Marv's face, and he had like the biggest scream.
They didn't take the poison out of that tarantula too.
I did read that. It was a real.
And that was a real scream from Daniel Stern.
Dude, that part's hilarious.
I'm guessing he was afraid of spiders and he didn't expect it. And then
Yeah.
right on his face.
I hate spiders. I can relate to him and his pain in that moment.
Yo, I'm gonna put a spider on you just to hear you scream like Daniel Stern in
I
that
could
movie.
murder your ass.
See, you should have thought ahead, and you should have had
Yeah.
it now. Just come down.
Where are my micro machines? I gotta find them.
Actually, John, what's on your shoulder?
Well, we'll start with Jen then. What is your favorite scene out of the movie?
my favorite scene in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like the scene when they come into the house. Like I love all of like the little booby trap scenes. That is my favorite. That's the main reason you watch that as a kid. But yeah, the one that stuck out to me all the time was that round heater thing that I didn't know what it was. But like when you were saying like thinking of it as a grown up now and how like they cleaned up stuff, wouldn't there be like skin on that doorknob now?
I wonder if it cooked it that much that it burnt on, and then because of the cool temperature, it kind of just flaked off. Because it was still kind of windy.
I don't know, but there's, as an adult, like, you know, like when you accidentally take something out of the oven without your mitt, I think of that when he has the M on his palm.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that sticks with you. Little, like, when you burn my hand, but it's not as cool because you don't have, like, the little M. But, yeah, those parts are my favorite because I used to always want to do that.
Nice.
But, like, you can't come in here.
You have a least favorite scene?
The Paris. Because the tree bothers me that much. And, like, you wouldn't fit all those people in that apartment. And they're kind of, like, they don't even care that, like, their nephew's home alone. They're just like, this is weird. It's like, very inconvenient that all these people are in my house eating my shrimp because they're for later. Like, they don't seem concerned.
There's 14 people in my house besides us.
So those, like, the people that played them are probably just, like, director's nieces or something like that. Niece and nephew. So they don't even have to act. Like, it's just... That part, I don't like that part.
Alright, cool.
John?
My favorite scene, I really enjoy the, what was it? I lost my train of thought.
This is the blue tree.
No, it wasn't the blue tree.
It's very distracting because it's bright.
Buzz's girlfriend?
No, it's the, Hey, didn't you admit to me that was you?
No.
You're like, yo, in the Playboy? No, actually, I really enjoy the scene where Daniel Stern goes to the door and Kevin plays the movie and he freaks the fuck out because of the firecrackers going off. And then it's more so when he gets into the van and he has the monologue with Joe Pesci and Joe Pesci's just all like into what he's saying. He goes, I heard some guys talking. Who? I don't know. But the one guy's name was, I could swear I heard the name Snakes and I know that name from somewhere. And Joe Pesci's like, Snakes. I don't know no snakes. He goes, I swear I know that guy. And he got gatted. And he's like, he got gatted in the house? I just think that part was just so funny and it was just like so well done from those two guys. And I could see him being like in the moment being like what the fuck's going on in this house over here?
Wait, that points back to the whole Pizza Boy thing too. I didn't, like, even now that you're talking about it, I thought about it. Because he's like, well, if he gets shot in the house, there's another person in there. Why don't we just follow him? And then find out where he's going to dump the body. So they thought about it, but not the Pizza Boy.
Least favorite scene, I think it was actually when Kevin ran away with the toothbrush. Because it was just kind of like that old man Marley thing. It's like, you're not talking to him, you're judging the guy. And even he feels bad, and you kind of feel bad for him because it wasn't something he wanted to do. But I understand he got scared. I don't like it because it was effective and it did its job. But, I mean, it still is a good scene. It's just like one of those, like, kind of sad.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about the scene with Santa Claus. With the
with the Tic Tacs.
Who plays Santa Claus in that?
John Hughes.
Is that John Hughes?
Yep.
Because I always thought like he was a Belushi. He sounds like it. His voice sounds like him. So I always thought he was one of them.
I totally forgot about it because I'm like, leading up to that, there's a lot going on. And then that was like the last thing he did was like, hey, I just want, the Christmas wish. I want my family back. I didn't realize it was John Hughes at first myself.
Yeah.
I think it's in the titles, it just says Santa. And
That's funny.
Yeah, I didn't know that. See, I learned something new.
Yay! Favorite scene for me, I think Jen said it best, especially when it comes to the booby traps, and then just the whole staging of everything with the burglars trying to get into the house, and just how they were able to capture some great stunt work by either the real actors or the stunt doubles and everything, how they got it on camera was great. I even love how it's all set up where they're just mocking Kevin. He's just ready to shoot them with a BB gun. Love Joe Pesci's scream when he gets shot in the crotch. And then it just goes downhill from them. There was a moment where I actually broke a light bulb, and the first thing I thought was Marv stepping on the ornaments and screaming at the top of his lungs, "I'm gonna kill that kid!"
I was there for that.
You were.
That's right.
Imagine like if I crushed my foot, I'd be like, "Ah!"
Because we were both going, "Ah!" And weren't they Christmas lights too?
They were Christmas lights too.
Oh my gosh.
You break and you're like, "Oh, there was a bulb."
So they weren't ornaments; they were Christmas lights, though. But still, they were made of glass. It was just so funny. And just the whole staging and everything involved in that entire sequence was just comedy gold. And it's what got me to love the movie from the beginning. Least favorite scene? I guess pretty much any scene involving Uncle Frank. I just hated him that much that I didn't care for any moment of screen time he got because he was such a douchebag.
So wait, he did his job though. He acted so well, you hated him.
It doesn't mean that I have to like him or like anything that he's in. There are some lovable assholes or some characters that you love to hate, but I love their characters so much because they have a purpose. I felt like this guy didn't really have much of a purpose except to be a cheapskate, a freeloader, and a fuckhead. I mean, I don't like him.
Boy, the trifecta.
Yeah.
Boy, he makes Marv and Harry look good.
He does.
Because they allowed him in the house, and he's still kind of like, robbing them.
Robbing them of their dignity and their souls. Jeff?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Honestly, my favorite scene, which we brought up a little bit earlier, was when Catherine O'Hara's in Scranton, and she's giving that whole emotional thing about trying to get home to see her son. But it's the sequence where she goes, "I will sell my soul to the devil just to get a ride home." And then you have John Candy walk up behind him. That's why I was laughing earlier when I brought it up about John Candy looking like the devil. Because that's the one thing that stuck out to me, because I'm like, did they plan that, or did they literally...
That's a funny coincidence. He was the devil for 2 seconds in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
But
was it? It was a John Hughes flick, too.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was intentional.
Because that was the one thing that stuck out to me, like the way she is pouring her soul off this person that didn't give a fuck. And finally, John Candy, or I don't remember his name in the movie, he just shows up, like, out of the kindness of his heart, like, "Listen, I heard what you were having issues, you can ride with us." And I was like, that whole sequence is, like, sticks out to me a lot. But yeah, you stole my thunder when about Uncle Frank.
You can rant about him too.
Dude,
yeah, say it. Come on, Jeff. Let it out.
I don't have one in me yet, because Uncle Frank is such a fucking prick.
All right, now, your motivation. Ready? Nightmare on Elm Street, 2010, Friday the 13th, 5. Go.
Yeah, it's not gonna help. I really don't have a rant about Uncle Frank, because I just hated him that much.
Okay, now think of Uncle Frank in those movies.
You guys are trying right now.
Think of me in those movies.
It's not organic, though.
Think of me in those movies constantly interrupting your ass.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, I'm good. I got nothing today. I'm sorry, guys.
I like Friday the 13th, A New Beginning.
I'll fucking murder you.
There you go.
There you go.
Keep going.
Oh my gosh, you can't end this without me bringing this up, because I was also proud of this fact. Did you know that there's an Elvis conspiracy with Home Alone?
No.
I saw there is.
What?
I'll have to send you the link. When I was looking up stuff that maybe I didn't notice before, the scene when she's in the Scranton airport and she's trying to get the tickets before John Candy comes in, there's apparently somebody in line behind her in the line, and people think it's Elvis. I keep watching it. It doesn't look like Elvis.
You mean actual Elvis, or
yeah,
Elvis
people think that if Elvis is still alive, he was an extra in that movie. So yeah, I'll send it. But I totally forgot to bring that up earlier.
Okay. All right.
But
Interesting.
It fit because I was just talking about that.
That goes along with, like, in The Shining, we were talking about the Room 237 story. So that's interesting. I like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple years later, so what Tommy Lee Jones said, Men in Black, "You do know Elvis is dead, right?" "No, he's not dead. He just went home."
And he went to the Scranton Airport.
So his home is the Scranton Airport. Okay.
Hey, it's possible. I mean, I didn't realize Skynet was a real thing until years later.
Yeah, I think
It is.
Lexi showed me that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, I told you guys about that.
Well,
It-
yeah,
that
I saw
freaked me out.
paperwork though.
It was like in the 60s it started. I was like, what?
But it makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember hearing somebody talking about it, and the dude was like, you think James Cameron just pulled his name out of his ass? I was like, well, apparently not. Especially when there's open fucking articles on Google about it that even say it's a self-aware learning computer. So it's like, well, I guess anything can really happen in movies. Just like how there's a meme lately going around about, wouldn't it be awesome if Kevin McAllister, like the next Home Alone movie was Kevin McAllister all grown up, but he was preparing the house for like a Purge sequel. I was like, that's genius.
Actually, there is a trailer for a mock movie with Catherine O'Hara, Macaulay Culkin, and the guy who played Buzz, and Joe Pesci for a new Home Alone. But they end up trying to kill Marv and Harry.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because they actually got everybody, and that was one thing. I'm like, I thought it was a real movie at first. Because I'm like, I would watch it no matter what. Oh, I think it was for the 25th anniversary.
Okay.
Oh my god.
And it was just funny because, like, Buzz and Catherine O'Hara are at the house, and then Kevin walks out with a fucking shotgun. I'm like, wait, he's still alive?
I think we
So-
pretty much
All
covered
right.
everything.
Is that going to wrap it up?
Yeah. Do you got anything else you want to say?
No, thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're
You want to tell
welcome.
everybody how they can reach you again?
Facebook page Jen M Harding Art, all one word. Instagram is the same, and Big Cartel. Honestly, it'll be better next time you see it, but go check it out. I have all of anything that's coming up. I post on there. Anything I'm working on. I am not an artist by trade, so I put stuff up as I do them. I do have a full-time job and, wife, mother, but as I put stuff up, they're up there, and I don't do prints, so that's one thing everybody should know. Any piece of art that I do is actually hand-drawn, so it came right from my sketchbook right on to print, so sometimes, there's flaws. I don't do prints, so if you have one of my pieces, nobody else does.
That's awesome.
It's an
I
original.
don't
That's
duplicate
awesome.
it. Yeah, like I do a lot of skull sketches, and I add like real flowers or silk flowers, like for like a Frida Kahlo type look. I am gonna have a lot more of those coming up, but they're all different. There's not a single one that's the same.
Okay.
So, but again, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank
coming
you for
on. This was
coming on.
awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully it's the start of a new adventure with us.
Yeah, and we have to do a Scream one because I have lots of things to say.
I'm not.
Oh, yeah, we will.
I think we can do that.
I was like, I know I brought it up a couple of times. Even, I think, on Don't Put Emmy in the Corner and probably some earlier episodes, but yeah, definitely.
I mean, Scream 5 is in 2021 January. It's right around the corner.
Like, now we'll have to watch it and then.
Do you know, I saw that movie in the theater the day it came out, and I actually saw it 7 times in the actual theater, and I worked at a 99-cent theater, so we got the second run movies, and by the time we got it, it was put together wrong, because you still had the reels, so they put it together wrong. I actually
my
got
God.
paid for a whole day to sit in there and make sure it was in the right spot, because I knew that movie from...
Oh my god.
It's like the best job ever.
The true fan at work.
Yeah.
That's an awesome story.
That's great.
So I'll have lots to say. I won't even need to look it up.
We could just let you do the talking.
Yeah, we'll sit and listen.
Yeah.
But there, like I said, there's little things like that I don't know because I was never into like the super details, so I would just watch them to enjoy them. So even as an adult, that was the first time I realized that Wes Craven was in the movie, like in the hallway when he plays the janitor.
Yeah, playing Freddy.
Yeah,
Yep.
I didn't know that until probably like 5 years ago. So for as much as I love it and I still watch them in order. If I'm home, like if I'm homesick, I have a Scream marathon. If somebody has Scream merchandise, I'm a sucker. So
Nice.
Hey, I got a lot to say about Scream. A lot of positive things because I really enjoyed it.
Same.
I mean, we even said off air that we thought that was like a breath of fresh air when that movie came out because horror was really sucking in the 90s. And then that came out and it was like, yes.
Everybody tried to copy Scream as soon as it became a big box office hit.
Yeah, and they failed.
Yeah.
So, I guess with that being said, we're going to sign off. Right?
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
Oh, you like stared at me. I'm like zoning, like. Yeah.
I'm still waiting for a rant.
You got one more hate speech left in you?
Nah, like I said, it doesn't feel organic. As much as I hate him, it doesn't get the rant because he's not worth it. He's below it.
Even me saying I liked Friday the 13th
Yo, listen,
Part
that's
5,
a
A
totally
New Beginning,
different-
but I really don't. But just imagine that I do.
It's a totally different story.
It's like when Patrick Swayze was beating on the dude in Dirty Dancing, and then he stopped and said, "You're not worth it."
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, how you keep bringing that up too? Like,
I carried a watermelon.
I think I was gonna order a shirt that just said that for today. Because her holding a watermelon since I carried the watermelon.
You have a watermelon thing right up there.
Yeah, that's actually why I put that up. So yeah, I'm planning ahead for that one.
I guess we'll have to do a whole Dirty Dancing episode then, not just the conjugal visits, but for us all to talk about it with you.
Be fun.
Yeah, it would be.
We have some ideas.
John needs to see Mannequin.
I know, I'm behind. I need to see. I'm this weekend. This is foreshadowing, but I'm doing a Black Christmas weekend, for better or worse. Just throwing that out right there.
You gonna throw the last one in the trash or the second last?
I haven't
in the
seen the
trash?
newest one, and I have to see it in order to have a well-rounded discussion about it. So we'll get to that later.
Okie dokie.
In the meantime, why don't we just conclude?
Yes. Jen Harding, thank you again for joining us. This was awesome.
Thank you for my present.
You're welcome.
And with that being said, we're going to sign off. This is Colin Peters.
John Rochetter.
Jeff Manfred.
Jen Harding.
Thank you all once again for listening. Stay safe. Stay crazy.
Happy holidays. You know, we are doing a Christmas movie.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, you
Happy
filthy
holidays.
animals.
I said it. Merry Christmas. Bye.
Please, somebody help me.
Oh, yeah.